The pandemic, that was a crazy time, a crazy few years for the entire world. I remember when the pandemic first hit and we're on lockdown and you're hearing all these news reports about people dying and having to wear masks and not being able to leave the house and all of this craziness that's going on. And never did I think at the beginning of the pandemic that I would be sitting here telling this story about my impact from the pandemic. So I lost my mother January of 2021. That's the saddest time of my entire life. I remember feeling guilty. You weren't able to visit hospitals then. You couldn't be with people when they died. So the idea that my mother died in that hospital room alone, that has always made me very sad. I spent a lot of time after she died trying to be there and take care of everybody else but myself. I think that led me down a path of isolation. Grief has a way of making you feel like nobody understands and you're alone. And so you start to find yourself speaking all of these negative things when it comes to that loss. And I remember people would try to talk to me and tell me she's in a better place. And, to be absent in the body is to be present with the Lord. And all of these things that are very much true. But none of it changed the fact that I was sad. There are still many days, even yesterday, where I turn into that 8-year-old kid that is just longing for one more hug, one more opportunity to laugh with my mother. And although I don't get that, I do get to think about all of the times that we had. I can say that the very last words that my mother and I said to each other were, "I love you." So the blessing is that I have no regrets. There is nothing that was left unsaid. We had the best relationship. The sadness is the thing that still gets me, which though I'm learning through grief, it's okay to admit that you are sad, that it is not going to go anywhere. So you get to a place where you can say, "I'm sad," and that's okay. How do I take this sadness and turn it into something meaningful and purposeful? And I remember weeks after she passed, finally deciding to post something about it on IG. And I kept it very short, but I remember at that time using the hashtag #MomAngel. And here we are now, right? She became the inspiration for what we are doing with MomAngel and trying to help these young boys who are in the place that they're in, an experience that I'm very familiar with. And so every time I think about being that 8-year-old kid that's just so sad about losing my mother, I can pour that energy into doing something purposeful for a young boy who is feeling what I feel, and I can ease it a little bit for him, knowing that that will honor my mother's legacy if I'm doing something good for somebody else. And so for anybody that's experiencing grief, what I will say is it's not the end. That loss, as deep as it feels, as rough as it seems to get past, you can do it. Find a way to take that sadness and turn it into something purposeful for yourself, but more importantly, for somebody else.